Today we're going to talk about how to become manipulation proof. You heard me right. There is a powerful statement that we need to be able to say to ourselves and to other people in our lives to make this happen. And that statement is, I know who I am. That statement is not only grounding, but it prevents people from gaslighting us. It prevents shame thoughts. And it also helps us feel anchored when life feels extremely chaotic or out of control. And the reason that this statement, I know who I am, is so incredibly powerful is because it automatically sets boundaries, right? If I know who I am, that means that I have limits to what I'm going to do and not do. Those are boundaries. And it also stops us from outsourcing our identity, right? Because if we don't know who we are, then we can look for other people to tell us. We're letting other people dictate our choices and our lifestyle. It's not rooted in who we are and what we want for ourselves. The truth is that most of us have felt this way at one point or another, especially I can speak to it in my early 20s, especially my teen years. I definitely didn't know who I was. And so I allowed other people to manipulate or at least influence me into acting different ways until I figured it out. But for those of you who are like, I never feel like I've known, I don't know, I've always had maybe a super controlling parent to try to tell me who I am, here are the ways we can start to find out. And the first tip that I have, and something that really helps me, is noticing the shoulds in our life. If when things are happening, I say, oh, I should be grateful. Let's say we got a new job, and that's amazing, right? Yay. But we hate it, and it's soul sucking. However, people in our life might be telling us, oh, that's so amazing. It's such a good salary. You have good health insurance. You should be so grateful and happy. And we find ourselves accepting that because we don't know who we are. We're influenced or manipulated by what they're telling us. And so then we can start saying, oh, I guess I should really love this job. I should be grateful. I should feel, proud. I should be happier. Those are all indicators that what we're experiencing, our true experience, is not aligned with the manipulation or influence that we're encountering. For example, if I say I should be grateful for this job, that means that I'm not. And my true emotional experience might be frustration. It might be disappointment. It might be sadness, right? But I should be grateful. If we notice that, that tells us what areas of our life maybe we're not living out of this truth to ourselves. We're not able to say, I know who I am, and act out of that. Instead, we're being manipulated or influenced by other people in our life. So start noticing those shoulds. My second tip is to define our core values. And the way that I went about this is I looked up values online because I have to be honest, I can only think of so many, and I didn't feel like it was covering all facets of who I am. So I pulled up a list. I encourage you to do the same and start jotting down the ones on a piece of paper separately. The ones that you're like, yeah, I value that. Yeah. Now, those are all of your values, but we're looking for core values. And so I want you to maybe see if there are patterns between the different ones that you've selected. Let's say I selected consistency. I selected close friendships. Let's say I selected honesty, integrity. I don't know, a bunch of things like that. When I looked at those values, I realized that what they all had in common was connection. That connection was actually the core value of that for me. That I really needed connection with people in my life. I needed community. And so you have to look for these specific patterns so you can pull your core values. Because when you do values work, they often tell you that you want to get down to like your final 5. Now, this took me a while. I want to say my first list had like 35 or 40 on it. And then I got it down to like 15, and then it was 10, and then it was really difficult to get it down to that 5. And so I really just encourage you to be patient with yourself. See what values resonate and don't, and see if there's like a theme between them. Maybe even use ChatGPT to help you out a little bit. Sometimes it can be helpful to have that conversation. But knowing your core values, again, allows you to more honestly and earnestly say, I know who I am, and be less vulnerable to manipulation or letting someone influence what you choose to do in your life. Now, the third tip is to take yourself on dates. I know it sounds a little weird, but in order for us to know who we are, we have to get to know that person. So often we don't spend any time with ourselves. We have a lot of people that can need things from us, whether this is, friendships, spouses, children, animals, family. There can be a lot of people that are at play, vying for our attention, vying for our energy. And we need to be able to give that back to ourselves. So take yourself out. Do something that you enjoy by yourself. And here's a big important thing to consider. No scrolling on your phone during a date. That's rude. People don't do that. That's not okay. I know some people do, but I don't think that's healthy. We have to talk to that person. We have to get to know the person we're on a date with, right? When we go out on a date, we do it to get to know them. Where'd you grow up? What hobbies do you have? What do you do for work? We ask them questions. We get to know them. We don't just scroll through our phone. So none of that. No scrolling. No AirPods, no headphones, no podcasts, no music. I want you to be alone with yourself when you go on these dates. I know you might be saying, Katie, I don't want to go to a restaurant and sit by myself. That's awkward. Okay. Nobody said that had to be your date. There's a ton of ways you can go on a date. You can do putt-putt golf. You can go to the park. You can take a random class, learn something. You can go for a walk. There's a ton of ways you can go on a date. Doesn't have to be just dinner. But I want you to truly be with yourself so that you can start to figure out who you are. Otherwise, we're just numbing out. We're just disconnecting. And if this is really hard for you, if you find yourself on this date trying to get to know yourself and all you do is pick up your phone and scroll into social media again, then there's no need for shame thoughts. We don't need to be angry at ourselves. We're already probably doing that. Instead, I want you to just say, oh, this tells me where my work lies, right? This is what I need to work on because I have a hard time just being with myself. Maybe it's really uncomfortable for me to be in silence because of whatever comes up. Maybe that's something we work on in therapy or we start to journal about and start to learn more about ourselves. So either way, it's a win, okay? And my final tip for this is to try new things. I had this come up in my FYP. I'm still processing it, so I'm sorry if it's not super clear, but there's this trend called a sprint month. Now, I don't know if it's come up in your feed yet, but if it does, hopefully it does now. But what a sprint month is essentially for 30 days. We do the thing that we've been wanting to do, but keep putting off for whatever reason for 30 days. Now, these things that we keep putting off, this isn't like, oh, I want to take a trip to Majorca. I mean, that's amazing. I would love to take a trip to Majorca if you're going. Let me know. But this is more about like, hey, I've always wanted to learn to paint, but I've never done it. I've always wanted to take that Spanish class, or I've always wanted to be in better shape. My back is killing me. Whatever it is. For 30 days, we sprint to this finish line. I like that it's a sprint because it's short. 30 days is not that long. But we incorporate or do the thing we've been wanting to do. Let's say you've been wanting to have more community, like myself. Then that means that we have to make an effort to reach out. The woman who shared this on TikTok said that she had set up this group of women in her area because she didn't have a community group before and she didn't know how to meet people. And so she set it up and she started inviting her neighbors and it just grew from there. It's a beautiful thing. So try new things because if we keep doing the same thing, we'll keep getting the same result. We'll keep feeling disconnected from ourselves, not knowing who we are and being incredibly vulnerable to manipulation and influence from other people, many of whom we probably don't want running our life, right? And so if we keep doing the same thing, we'll keep getting the same result. And if we try new things, if we do different things, then we move ourselves off of this path that we're on that's not happy, that's not healthy, that isn't rooted in our true self. And instead we veer into, we have a whole nother trajectory. Our life can be drastically different in 30 days. I firmly believe that. And I think that's why I love that idea of like the sprint month. So make time and give yourself an opportunity to try new things and give yourself that chance to, instead of staying on this path that's getting us not where we want to be, allowing us to be manipulated and influenced, let's instead veer off and see where life can take us. Because I firmly believe that when we root in ourselves, when we are able to say, I know who I am, good things will happen. We will finally start living the life that we are meant to have. So I want you, in closing today, I want you to say it with me. I know who I am. And if you can't say that, if you're like, Katie, if I repeat after you, if I say it with you, it just feels false, it just feels fake. Instead, maybe try saying, I'm willing to learn. Right? Maybe we don't know right now. And if that's you, let me know in the comments below. Leave a little note and let me know what you do know about yourself. What's like one thing you know about yourself today? And what are you hoping to learn more of? Or if you have another tool or technique that's helped you, let us know. Let's help each other. This can be overwhelming. It can feel like, well, I don't know who I am. I'm going to be forever lost. That's not true. We will get there. It's just one decision at a time, one step at a time, one value at a time that we learn about ourselves, and we slowly start to cultivate this true knowing that I know who I am, and I'm not going to let someone else tell me, because I already have that information. I'm not looking out into the world to validate something because I already know it, right? It's like, I know 2 + 2 = 4. I'm not going to go ask someone about it. I already know that information. And I want you to feel that way about your sense of self, because I cannot tell you how life-changing this work has been for me and continues to be. And I truly believe that we can all improve if we just start doing some of these small, simple changes in our life to figure out who we are, knowing that we're growing and changing every day, but having like a childlike curiosity about it, I think can be incredibly healing and allow us to feel calm and collected even when the world feels like chaos. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Share this video if you think it could help someone in your life. You never know who's looking for this kind of information. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next time.